Now, here's something interesting. I already covered the video game Kingdom Come. For those of you who don't know, Kingdom Come comes out during the first Gamergate, and journalists were attacking the game for not having black people. And at the time, the man in charge, Daniel Vavra, comes out and says, well, there are no black people in this time period. He's talking about medieval Europe. His game takes place within the Central Europe, and he's like, well, diversity didn't exist in the Schengen area back then. I'm really sorry, but airplanes weren't invented. People had difficulty traveling. And so in my story, I try to create immersion. I try to build an authentic medieval experience. And I view that having black characters in it would ruin the immersion. And so he stuck it to the journalists. And a lot of people actually did buy the game and went out of their way. They would even say, okay, well, this game isn't for me, but I'm going to buy it simply because it pushes the culture that I want. I want artists to be able to stand by their guns and fulfill their vision. And so years later, you have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I covered it on my channel. I said that even though there is controversy, it's still going to sell. It's going to sell because it's a lot better than the other games. Like every single time, you don't compare things with the ideal. You compare it to where you're at. And looking at where the industry is at and what was produced, I said, okay, well, this is probably going to sell. It did. But a lot of people were talking about the censorship and the change of vision. Because this is what the controversy was about. Now, you do have a black person in the video game, and not only that, he's unkillable. Right, in a role-playing game, you can't make a decision in order to kill him. You also have gay romance in the video game. Again, it's a medieval period, right? And unless you have, like, the mobs coming in with torches and pitchforks, it's a bizarre inclusion. Many other controversies such as that, right? So, like, people were wondering, well, why the self-censorship? And for a couple of months, we were being gaslit that there is no such thing as self-censorship. Like, this is just the creator's vision. Until, apparently, there was an interview with Daniel Vavra. And if the translations to the interview are accurate, the moderator says, did the producer interfere with the development in any way, even in this stage of the culture war? And Vavra says, no, we were rather careful. They were interested in what we were doing and we were informed. But they liked it and didn't tell us to add or remove. Perhaps it was also like that because we self-censored, right? So he's basically saying that the producer didn't say anything because they didn't have to. Like, they self-censored so that the producer doesn't say anything. Of course you self-censor. There are things you think really hard about, how you portray them, because in this age of oversensitive people. Can you give any examples? We verified everything with a ton of different consultants, right? So, like, again, you can't just create something. You need consultants. This is why, like, some of the, I guess the Melody Mac type of crowd covet, like, this is what they desire. They want to be the consultants. Like, they're not against the concept of the consultants, but they want to be in it. They want to put their friends in it. It's a very lucrative business. It's a parasitic business that has attached itself to the entertainment, and it has done so by criticizing the games. Oh, we don't like this, we don't like that, this shouldn't be in here, this shouldn't be allowed, that shouldn't exist. And now, if you're someone in charge of $100,000 production or $1 million production, you need the consultants. And this is what Vavra said, like, we talked with different consultants. For every religion, for every minority, for every group of people, we had consultants. We sent them our script and we asked them whether or not something is wrong in the script. They didn't ask, is our script immersive? Is it logically consistent? Is it not? No, it's like, would your people be as hurt if we have that in the game? And so he's not asking the players. He's not asking the customers. He is asking the oversensitive people, is this allowed? Are we allowed to have this in? Now, a lot of people are upset at Vavra, okay? I'm not telling you how to feel about Vavra. I am not the master of your emotion. I'm not the master of your fifis. You can feel however you want. But I want to focus on what's important here. And what is important is that this isn't just Vavra. This is the culture, okay? This is systemic, as the left likes to say. This is the system we're in. And I can tell you this as a game developer myself. See, when I started making video games, I thought that is just the same like making YouTube videos. I thought that you just hit in, you just talk, and then you upload, and there you fucking go, right? Well, with video games, with movies, with TV shows, it's not like that in 2026. It used to be like that a decade ago. Now we are into the realm of sanitization. Now we're in the realm of how can you allow? Why is this allowed? Why are we showing this? What message, right? And there's people on the left and people on the right that want to maintain the status quo. The only thing they disagree is what should or shouldn't be presented. But the idea of consultants, the idea of oversensitive people, I see individuals on the right wanting to boycott this video game and trying to report it to Steam. Like the practices, the tools, they're excellent, they're amazing. You know, America's best modern creation. The only thing that's different is like, how do we use the tools? That's the conversation. The conversation isn't about, can we get rid of the tools? Fuck the tools, right? Like, just allow people to create like we did a decade ago. Screw the fucking tools. No, now it's like, who gets to have the tools? That's the fucking disgusting and vile, by the way. But anyway, it is what it is. The thing when you're making a video game, you gotta worry about so many people. If you don't have your own money, if you don't happen to have a couple of millions of dollars, you gotta get an investor. The investor now have something to say about your video game. He can basically say, yeah, don't have this in, don't have that in. Like, he has a contract, and, you know, he may be not wanting to be associated with certain themes. Like, maybe he doesn't want to be associated with a gay romance, and so he can tell you. Or maybe he doesn't want to be associated with a game that doesn't have a gay romance, and so he can tell you. So, like, the investor, you know, he's got, like, his own vision, his own design. He can go in and talk about the story, about characters, right? Because he paid. Like, he's the one that front up. So, based on the contract, you got to listen to the investor. You don't have, like, full artistic creativity. But if you have your own money, or even if you have an investor, then you have to worry about the publisher. And so, like, the publisher may not publish. For instance, Steam. Like, Steam wouldn't allow hate speech in your game. It's a very vague and ambiguous thing. What is hate speech? Fuck knows, right? Is South Park hate speech? Is Postal hate speech? Well, it's up to you to decide, right? So now you have to self-censor what Vavra is saying. Because if you don't believe that you have to, imagine this. You're having a production of billions of dollars, right? Like, you already made bank loans. You already have credit that you need to pay back. You have people employed. And imagine if your game gets banned from Steam. Now you can't sell it. Now you're in debt. Now your entire business is crippled. A lot of people can't afford that. And, you know, like, in some cases, yeah, like, some people would choose not to self-censor with one thing, but self-censor with another. This is the culture. Until the culture changes, until we change society, this is not going to go away. The only way it can go away is if you have, like, an indie game developer that doesn't invest a lot of money, or he's doing his the work on his own time. You know, you have, like, a coffin of Ashley and Lele, which can afford to take the criticism. Oh my goodness, it has incest in it. It's just like Game of Thrones, you guys. It's just like fucking Game of Thrones, right? And so, because it's an indie title, and it's not, you know, like someone associated with a big corporation or a big company, they can take the criticism. But if it was like someone else, like EA Games or Ubisoft, oh, Ubisoft has incest in its game, oh, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, the stocks go down, investors pull out, right? It doesn't matter if the game is popular. No one cares about the market. No one cares about the customer. Fuck the customer. That is the ethos of modern American mindset. Fuck the customer. The only people that we care are the oversensitive people, regardless of their ideology. Whether they're Muslims, whether they're Christians, whether they're leftists, it doesn't matter. Like, find me the most oversensitive people, get them together as consultants, and let's make a game that pleases everyone. And then you end up with a game that pleases nobody. And after you please the publisher, after you please the investor, well, now there's various laws that you also have to abide by. Yeah, like, there are nations now that, for instance, they don't want to have tobacco in video games. They don't want to have alcohol in video games. Do you have, like, an interesting character? Like, do you want to make a funny concept? There's this game now where you get to play as a drunk bunny girl and have to take her home. I mean, that can violate laws in Britain and Canada and shit. You know, like the game may be fun, it may be entertaining, it may be tongue-in-cheek, it may have like a little bit of humor, but it's overly sensitive. You can't have that, right? So you gotta censor on that. And then you also have to wonder, what about the activists? You know, you make a game that makes fun of Muslims, all of a sudden the NGOs get upset. You make a game that makes fun of white people, well, that's allowed. There's no NGO for white people. And that's how they're thinking. They're thinking in the terms of risk adversement. Of course, again, Daniel Vavra is one of many. He's not alone in this. Like, he's not the one inventing the wheel or anything. Like, he is part of a system. You're just looking at one guy out of thousands. And again, like, the solution is to change the mindset of the people. People have to say, okay, this is art. And if it's art, everything goes. And anyone that says anything differently, they are the problem. Until you go after the people that constantly bitch and complain about artistic creativity, you don't deserve artistic creativity. You don't deserve the 2016s. You don't deserve the Mass Effect trilogy. You don't deserve the Dragon Ages. You don't deserve that shit. What you do deserve is the Ubisoft slop. What you do deserve is the EA Games crap. And what you do deserve is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Why? Because you think that art should be a product. You think that art should be like a bureaucratic institution where all these gamers have to, all these developers have to follow the publisher, the platform, the investors, the laws of various nations, which again also exist because of the mindset of people, right? Like, let's not have cigarettes in video games. Okay, that's just like one thing. But like, you need when you're selling a game at an international level, well, now you have to look at all the laws, all the countries, all the legislations, and go by the game that is censored enough so that even in the most censorious country, it can be displayed. Heaven forbid you make some eroge romance. Heaven forbid you make some high school romance. Holy fucking shit, like those visual novels, I pity them. Like, there are rules, okay, you want your visual novel to go for T14s, right? Like some high school drama type of shit. Okay, well, now you go into some really nasty territory. Like, you're more in luck if you want to make a game about gore and blood and guts and like vile shit than to make a game about a high school romance. Because now all the art style, which is subjective, you may need to make sure that all the characters are 18, not 17 and 11 months. Holy fucking shit. No, like, they need to look 18. What is the difference in anime between 17 and 18? I don't fucking know, but you better well should. Because if a Steam moderator looks at that and doesn't fucking like it, right? And then you have the ESRB. And that's how you get, like, a lot of censorship. And then you also have demands for inclusivity. Like, you need a black character in it. Okay, you have a black character. But as Daniel Vavra points out, that's not enough. Because now you need consultants that consult on black characters. And they tell you how a black character can act. Like, he can't just be a drunk and a wife beater or some shit like that. Because, you know, like, you need a villain. I mean, if you need a villain, get a white guy. You can't get the black guy to do that. Because that's, you know, not a good representation. And this is the culture. You know, people are focusing on Daniel Vavra as if he didn't exist. As if this game didn't happen. All of this would go away. Sure, you know, you can say, well, he's a coward for not having a spine. I mean, I'm sure if you had, you know, $1 million and made your own video game with people that are now relying on you to find employment and they're afraid that they may get fired and not have food to put on the table, like, you would probably be the most risk-taking person. And, you know, like, that's not a bad thing. Like, if you take risks, you may actually end up succeeding and you may actually end up making millions of dollars. Or you can end up unemployed with that, you know? But some people, it turns out the majority of them are risk adverse. Especially big corporations. So if you want AAA to change, you gotta change the mindset. You gotta go back to tits and violence. Like, that used to be in 2016. Like, video games are edgy. They're not for everyone. Basically, there's a wide variety of video games, and what you need to do is to pick the video games that you like and ignore the others. Until that fucking happens, until you stop getting people bitching about gacha games and Stellar Blade and shit like that, you don't deserve entertainment. You're going to get more Kingdom Come 2. The tools have to fucking go away. It's not about who owns the tools. The tools are the problem. They're the apple of Discord. They have to go back. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.